All right, guys, hello and welcome back. Time for game number 2 is when it's going to be Arcadia, once again facing off against Myrmidons, who took game number 1, so they have a nice little 0-1 lead for themselves. The score doesn't want to show up. Score, please.
Hashtag production. Blame Hindu.
It probably is Hindu's fault. I mean, that's the reality situation.
Damn it, Hindu!
He's always doing stuff and causing problems. Apparently, they gave him a desk and a computer down at the hi-rez Studios offices, and it took him all of like 12 hours to lose his entire office. It just vanished, apparently.
Yeah. He got shifted and shunted around. Now he lives with the furniture.
Indeed. You know what the problem is? I just pull that back down, and there should be a score. The score is back! The first ban is back. Thor also banned out on the side of Myrmidons. We are underway with everything working properly. We solved the Hindu problems.
And wisely, I do see the Thor ban coming through this time. But you know what it's left on the table? This is a U, and it's left Ymir up.
We have not seen him so far today. There's actually one game where he was not banned out. This is the collective Challenger Cup stats for the summer slip, by the way, guys, just in case you're wondering what those numbers exactly are today. Previously is the rolling competitive stats overall. This is just going to be the North America and EU combined. If this was actually the EU, instead of a 17% ban rate, Ymir would be like 99.7% ban rate on him. And the pick rate would be significantly lower.
You know what we should be looking into?
What's
the
that?
ban rate of Hades against Mogao.
I imagine it's up there. It's probably, to be fair, it's probably sitting at about somewhere around 60-70%, because as I was out, it's Hades. How bad is it going to be? And the teams realize their mistake after the fact, at which point it's already way too late. You might be able to ban him games 2 and 3 if it's the best of 3 series, but you know, 50-60% thereabouts, because people just underestimate the Mogao Hades. That said, Wukong's still on the table. That also said, Athena and Poseidon were picked up by Myrmidons.
Chuck's still on the table as well. And then he can just play something standard like, does he play Hercules?
Well,
do we even know if Mogao plays Hercules?
Talking about very good picks for various gods. Ra for Team Arcadia.
Oh god.
Vex is like a 97% accuracy rating on that Searing Pain. I think he's missed like 1 in the past 6 weeks. Maybe 2. 2 times.
He missed 2 in 1 game. But that was it. That's the only time I've ever actually seen him miss a rail snipe. I'm very, very impressed. You were as well. Like,
yeah.
Anyone that has seen Vex as Ra is just automatically impressed. He's played a lot of Ra, you can tell.
Yeah, but that I mean, it's a strong guy in general, a lot of healing. Gab's going to be picked up on the other side, answered back that Bacchus a little bit. Unlike the Ares pick we saw last time by stacking this prime, Bacchus a little bit better off these days. The steal potential is real to contest objectives. You have the Intoxicate come down, it's a big burst of damage. He's also a little bit less reliant on staying even. If you fall behind his Bacchus, you can still contribute a decent little bit to the fight. Although it's not going to be an Athena, Geb, Sylvanas, or what have you. That said, Sylvanas was actually still available, so maybe a little bit of personal preference for stacking this prime. Not really a fan of those kind of top-tier supports that are the top-tier in other people's books, at least. Some people prefer the Bacchus, some prefer the Ares. Sometimes, you just prefer the more aggressive option. Go for those options instead. And you could go Ymir as well. It might not be Bacchus in this case, because Ymir was picked up. Well, Bacchus obviously really going anywhere else, but sport roles, to be honest. But I don't know.
Kinda has me a little bit confused as well.
What's that?
From the side of Team Arcadia, they banned away the Ares and then wanted to pick up Ymir. Why would you ban Ares and then go for Ymir? I guess it's just because it was open and they wanted to play it. But they've also banned away the Neath as well. They've left a rather large deal up here, is the problem, right? There's Giannis is available here. Scylla, I mean, I guess, but, Poseidon's already been on the table, though. That was picked up, but they left Athena, they left Sylvanas. They could have gotten Athena and Sylvanas, but opting to go for Athena Geb.
Yeah, I don't know. Supports, at this point in time, there's too many of them to really ban out, because you leave too much other stuff open as well. So you take, like, okay, who do we want, and do they perform well against the other person they're likely to pick up? If we first pick Ymir, they're going to go for Athena or Sylvanas. Are we comfortable with the fact that we'll be able to deal with that after the fact? Well, if they go with Sylvanas, we can pick up Bacchus, make sure to get some anti-healing in the kit. There's always Sobek for kind of the same option. So the stuff on the table is all about how you're going to respond to what they look to pick up themselves. There's somebody we haven't seen in a good little while. Xbalanque getting locked in by Team Arcadia alongside Osiris, another one who really hasn't seen much play too much lately. Final pick, the Ravana hover over. Can't play him yet. He's still banned competitive level. Silly Mogao and your shenanigan hovers. Hercules, on the other hand, definitely an option. Definitely could be played.
Interesting to see how Mogao goes. I do recall Mogao playing one game on Hercules, but he significantly struggled that game. I mean, at competitive level.
Right.
I'm interested to see it here because, you know, they've got the one game gap. They can experiment a little bit with their comp, and you can see it as well that they're offering up towards Arca. Last game he was playing a more later game style hunter, but now he's gone for the anhur. They've got Athena on the line, but they can also make a really nice combo between anhur and Poseidon.
Yep. There's some options available for both these teams. The question is going to be, how will they play out? It's going to be double Guardians up against some other, I don't want to say unorthodox picks inside Team Arcadia, but Osiris, not seen all that often. Be a lot of poke, a lot of slows, and we'll see if Myrmidons can respond to that and close out the series, but find themselves a second victory in this best of 5 series, or if Team Arcadia can even things out and take us to 1-1 overall. We'll find out how that turns out here in just a couple minutes. Stick around. Alright guys, so welcome back. Team Arcadia versus the Myrmidons. Game 2 of this best of 5 semifinal for the grand finals of the Summer Challenger Cup. I'm Zidon, joined once again by Ranconius. And I'm going to say this initially to start the game. I'm expecting North America super hyper aggressive. I don't know, I just cursed myself backwards. I got it backwards. I expect another very long, slow, boring, slow paced EU style game out of this one. I totally just invoked the Caster's Curse backwards.
God damn it, we're gonna have a long, slow game, aren't we? Alright, starting up, what's gonna be the focal point of both of these comps? Because we got an Osiris Hercules lane, and that's something that I don't think we've seen a lot of until maybe the last week or so.
Osiris solo lane? There was the one kind of pseudo-random Divios saying, why not play Osiris? Sure, why not? Pulled it out and did work with it. Played a couple of times since then in the summer split. However, I'm curious to see how this one will work out against Hercules. It's some back and forth poke with the mana buff online, and what will likely be an early Xbalanque pickup. You're able to box back and forth quite effectively early on against Mogao. Unless things like that happen, you don't want to get Dragon Strike under the tower at level 2. That's a lot of damage. Going to force pots already on the side of Bulbasaur. There's some poke potential before that Mystical Mail is completed, back and forth boxing for Bulbasaur, but once that Mystical Mail is completed, Bulbasaur really cannot look to fight that Hercules.
No, and yeah, Mystical Mail, Steel Mail. Setup seems to be the focus coming through here, but look at this from Arcadia. It's going to be on towards those mid-Harpy camps. They rotate Osiris out of the lane and in to get some more bonus XP after he got banged up and pushed underneath that tower. Is that due to how far their lane was pushed up, or you think they planned this regardless of where they were?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. The way these fights are going to end up playing out, that means double Guardian on the side of the Myrmidons. They have the Osiris on the left, double Guardians as well on the other side with the Bacchus as well as the Ymir. It comes down to how well they're going to use these individual Guardians kits. Ymir, a Blink Frost Breath, the walls, the Shard Device for damage. He's going to be doing a lot more early game pressure if you can find somebody to lock down. Same sort of thing with Stackness Prime. Bacchus, especially once he hits level 5 and that ultimate is online available, he's going to have a decent little bit of burst. Myrmidons have the taunt to peel people off or lock them up and set them down for a team fight. Dardus has the stone shields, he has the cataclysm and shockwaves for kind of counter engage or again peel. So they have some defensive options. They can look just like wait for Mogao to get to the fights, let him pull somebody in, driving strike, follow up, burst them down. They have the team fight set up. Team Arcadia are going to be looking a little more for the early game, mid game pressure, while Myrmidons, they can still set some stuff early on, but they don't really have that much going for them until kind of the mid-game starts to roll around. But at the same time, the Anhur versus Xbalanque, as a kill broke out somewhere, mid-lane, we missed it, whatever, it happened. First blood drawn, Poseidon gets picked off between Fexes and Mr. Crushy. Late game, Xbalanque, the hyper-carriest of hyper-carries, up against that Anhur, kinda won't be doing so much later on in comparison.
Yeah, and well, Myrmidons, normally known for their solo leaders pressure play, it's gonna come into this duo lane. It's interesting to see it comboed up with a Geb though. Normally you say, hey, we got Geb, that's probably a mid to late game sort of peely support style, more so than straight out aggression like an Ares or Ymir.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much this game apparently. But late game, as stuff kind of starts to go up, there's no Transcendence getting picked up by either one of these guys. They're not really caster-based. Anhur has some mana issues in lane. It's going to come down to how well they play out this mid game. That's when both these teams are going to kind of start coming together, and they start to able to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like gel a little bit, I think is what I'm trying to get at. They'll have some potential for kills before that. There's not really much to fight over. You can't really go for an early Gold Fury. An early tower isn't really going to happen because the towers have a decent bit of physical protection, and they're quite hard to bring down early on. So, I don't know. I again, just don't know this game, apparently. There's some water, maybe that'll help. Magical water of remembering and figuring things out, perhaps? Not really, but who knows? Maybe it'll help.
Maybe potentially some from the Fountain of Youth, because, you know, who doesn't want water from the Fountain of Youth?
Well, unfortunately, again, not the case. If it was, that would be, in fact, awesome. Nevertheless, yeah, not much going on. I unfortunately completely screwed up my invoking of the Caster's Curse. So you can blame me for that.
Alright, well, mid-Harpy camps. Arcadia seem to be farming them quite aggressively. They're getting a lot of these coming down. And a blink into the freeze on the right-hand side of things. Macy Mogal going down the shards of Trice does a lot of damage, and Bulbasaur is there to confirm that one. So that's a kill on towards Mogal early on, and that's not how he likes to play the lanes.
Well, Team Arcadia making good use of the early game pressure coming out of that Ymir in the jungle. He's been a part of both of those kills. He's been the one to set them up, for that matter, making good use of that blink into the Frost Breath, and then if needed, the wall to make sure they can't run away on the back end of it. Left-hand side, Stackman's Prime Infect is going to be picking up that damage buff for him. We're heading back to lane here in just a moment. And otherwise, yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to be seeing going forward. The fights are going to come down to Mr. Crunchy ganking on that Ymir. Did he? So he did not start with the purple pot either. So, you know, he's not going to be behind. He's actually ahead by a decent little margin, just on the back of being a part of both those kills, including the first blood. This is how they need to play this game, this matchup. Team Arcadia, if they don't get themselves going, I really can't talk. My brain is dead this game. They're going. They got going. They started going. However you want to put it. If they can keep doing what they're doing, keep growing this lead, they will turn this into a victory once the mid-game rolls around. Myrmidons, yeah, they'll start to kind of come online a little bit more, but at the same time, Team Arcadia, they'll be online at that point as well and won't really be too concerned about it.
Yeah, you know, they've got an anhur versus Xbalanque matchup. If they can go even for an extended period of time and they can't get the 1v1 outplay that Arcadia should be able to do on towards Vote MBK, that's a little bit worrying. They need to get anhur just a little bit ahead, but at least into something like an Osiris, he's going to have good damage. Ymir as well, being able to shred those penetrations, even just by 10 is fantastic. But a blink into another freeze on the right-hand side of things, and Mogal's in trouble.
He has another kill going down to Mr. Crunchy, left-hand side. There was a Defender of Olympus burn. They were trying to set up a kill on that side of the map. But one Rising Jaguar later, Vote MBK was well free and clear of any possible kill attempt as Life Fexus finds the secure onto Tynes in the mid lane as well. Looking for a little bit more, trying to find a counter engage. The Frost Breath connects on the Dardas as well for another kill. Team Arcadia up 5-0, and they're still not done here as they're looking to lock down this kill onto Shock and Smash. Belly Flop not going to find the knockup. He will make it back out safely, but not before Team Arcadia found 2 more kills onto their team.
Now look at Team Arcadia, 5-0 at this point in time. They're certainly trumping the early game coming out from Myrmidons, so it's going to be down to whether Tynes can get some really nice combos going. Shock and Smash needs to be there and start making some impact in this game. He's had that Defender of Olympus now for a little while and hasn't been able to influence anything with it. He did Defender of Olympus down towards the left-hand side. Nothing came of it, so they need to pick an nice engage, and they need to get themselves into the game this early.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I was going to say, maybe that was a situation Defender Olympus latched onto the wrong person, but where it went on the map, that could not have been the case. Mogal would have actually been the complete opposite side of the map. So I don't know why they didn't look to reinforce over there. Yeah, they were kind of looking to set up a kill, but they hadn't burned the Rising Jaguar on Xbalanque quite yet. He was able to just get out free and clear. I mean, it wasn't even a situation where it was like, oh, you know, we got the shockwave off, the taunt just didn't connect. It was a case of he was never in range for either one of those abilities. So I'm not entirely sure what the thought process was of using Defender of Olympus on that side of the map in that particular moment, but it was definitely wasted. Tynes drops down a Whirlpool, does get a couple ticks of damage onto Mr. Crunchy, but left side Harpies were picked up by Team Arcadia. They're looking to keep this lead rolling, and so far at least, they're doing a good job of doing exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, 2k lead in the early game at 8 minutes in the time, that's a nice lead. And 5.6k on the experience graph. They're farming these mid camps and back camps really, really heavily. They're getting a really nice job down on that. making the new jungle their own and really owning it. As well, something else that really helps Ymir out in the early portions of the jungle, being able to pressure the lanes through use of picking up an early blink because you don't buy hog.
Yeah.
That's huge. That has actually swung this early game because blink ganks on the right-hand side map twice have led to now this first tower being dropped.
Yeah, that's going to free things up a little bit more for Bulbasaur. He has a pretty strong grasp on that soul lane for the time being. A lot of that is due to the help coming in from Mr. Crunchy out of the jungle. But this frees Bulbasaur up to start rotating around a little bit. Gold Fury is definitely a possibility. They get 1 or 2 kills. Hey, you know what? We can now go do the Gold Fury. If we save an ultimate or 2, we have the Shards of Ice. We have the Intoxicate. We have the Searing Pain. We have these big, secure objective damage abilities on our side of the team. We don't need that Wrath of the Gods to secure the objectives. Myrmidons, they don't have it anyway. They have a Kraken. You force it out, you get to kill the Tins beforehand, and it doesn't matter if they have the Wrath of the Gods or not because they can secure it themselves with their own abilities.
I mean, yeah, you know, objective control is something that Myrmidons do have in spades from their team comp, you know. A Blinky and ultimate. Oh, actually, Tynes is going to get on towards Vexes, and that's not quite everything done either, as Defender of Olympus is starting to come in here. They're really looking to go after Stactimus Prime, but the rest of Arcadia is here.
They're grouping up on that Whirlpool's while damage doing work. Shotgun Smash finds a second kill in this engagement. They're looking to turn this one back around, but Arkyle's already far enough away. Mogow made a rotation over, but the opportunity for another kill may not be there as Team Arcadia is looking to disengage and retreat back to their own side of the map. Looks like they'll be free and clear. That just came down to a little bit of poor grouping. Team Arcadia took a whole lot of damage, and the follow-up was more than enough to turn some kills around for Myrmidons.
Yeah, just grouping in general was the deciding factor towards that fight, because you look at it coming through for Myrmidons, and they had a nice engage. They were in decent-ish positions. They just split up and went the entire wrong directions, all sort of run away from each other. And Arcadia, with the better communication on that side, were able to pick them off as they scattered, make some nice kills, get themselves on the board. That's important. Look at the turret scenario, though. Over on the right-hand side of the map, that Hercules has now got a choice to make. Do I shove this in hard, try and get the tower, or do I focus on rotating and getting my team ahead? If Osiris continues to go for my inner tower, he's not a hunter in this solo lane. It's a lot harder for a melee person to walk into a creep wave and walk up and slap your tower a bunch of times.
You know, I said Bulbasaur, kill potential really would not be there. You can look to box back with Hercules as soon as that Mystical Mail is completed. But Bulbasaur is not really caring. There's a lot of extra protections from his passive, as well as those Judgment Tethers offering even more when it's activated and attached to Mogow. Then you have the stun, the slows. You can look to Driving Strike aggressively and find a stun on the Bulbasaur, but then all he does is apply the slows, and Mogow no longer has a way to get any sort of distance, and Mogow will just stick to him, constantly applying damage.
Yeah, it's got to be the CC chain for any way of Mogow to be able to trade in this particular lane with Osiris. You mentioned it, slows galore, ability to stick on towards him from the start of Bulbasaur. He's got to look for some avenue of successfully trading. So far, at least, he just kind of hasn't found it. It needed to be combos back underneath tower that we saw at level 2, because that's where Hercules is really, really strong. It's with that pseudo second member fighting alongside him in the tower.
Yep, absolutely. So Team Arcadia still have a strong lead in this matchup, but can they hold on to as Myrmidons are looking to claw themselves back into the lead and put themselves in a favorable position? Blink, Frost Breath forces the beads off of Tyne. Dardas did get caught, but the Cataclysm comes back out. The Kraken finds the damage, and a bit of a delivery from the skies. Defender of Olympus, the stilettos to Mr. Crunch's face, find that kill. Vex is trying to run away as Desert Fury comes out, looking like he may fall.
Vexes is incredibly low here. He's still trying to get the heck out, but Arkyle's also in a world of hurt as well. And now Vote MBK's joined in here, and he's got the branching bowlers, and look at Stactimus Prime, able to suddenly turn around and go deep. But now look at the rotation from Mogow as Vote MBK finds a second passive stack of the game for himself, and now he's forced to disengage. Vote MBK running for his life, but will live, if only with 2 stacks on his name.
Yep, so going back and forth, it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. Myrmidons, because they were behind by a little bit, came out just a squeak ahead. They just barely squeaked out a victory in that one, even though it was a 2-for-2 overall. Team Arcadia, though, still holding on to the lead, but Myrmidons definitely looking to answer back. Look at that graph. I said earlier, Myrmidons need to put a stop to that bleed, and they have done exactly that. They haven't quite healed up the damage, but they're definitely working towards that.
Yeah, Myrmidons closing things down is always fantastic. It opens the game up for a lot closer fights, although then again we are in EU, they may just not fight ever now that they're very, very similar. But they've got to be careful from the side of Myrmidons. Their damage falls off. Yeah, those health bars continue to scale. But look at the side of Team Arcadia. Their health bars continue to scale extremely well as well. Ra healing in the middle of that, and then some Vote MBK AoE on top. Ouch.
You'll see the issue of this later on. once the Kraken's down, once the Desert Fury is down, once it comes down to we used our stuff on the side of Myrmidons, if we don't find kills on the people with that initial upfront burst, the raw heal gets dropped on down. They're going to start healing up some of that damage, and they have a lot more consistent, persistent damage over the course of the fight. Vote MBK is going to be doing a lot more than Arcadia will later on. Bulbasaur going to be slowing people down, doing damage. Vex is, okay, he's fairly short cooldowns, not quite an in-hand based god, but Ymir, with that passive, will still do a lot. They have to watch out for, they cannot let this game get to late game, or Myrmidons will not really be able to fight toe-to-toe. Kraken ages out of by stacking his prime as he's going to be caught out here for just a moment as he drops down the intoxicated Vex is running for his life right now. Time's very, very low. Stacking this though, not able to secure that kill as Shock and Smash looking to give chase and find that kill.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what Shock and Smash wants to do. He really wants to get in your face and be able to create some sort of plays, but now he's in trouble. He's been walled off. The Frost Breath didn't land, and neither did the Snipe. Vex says misses one this week.
Third one for the summer split in its entirety. Of many. Of many.
His heart might not just be in it, son.
Everyone gets one. He's up to 3 though, so that wasn't the one. That said, yeah.
I mean, we did rough him up last week with it though, when we
did.
were
We
doing
gave him a real hard time when he missed that first one, because it was like so horrible. It's like, oh my god, you missed one. How can you play raw if you're not going to land every last single searing pain?
I think, to be perfectly honest, I think we actually gave him that same stigmatism last week, and the only reason he missed it was purely because we started focusing on him and saying how good of a Ra he was, because we've seen it regularly from him, and as soon as we mentioned it, he just... No, can't hit one.
Yeah, he was listening, he's like, you know, haha, casters, I will screw you over and make you wrong, I will miss intentionally. One of them, to be fair, one of them was the fact that someone just died a split second before the searing pain would otherwise have hit. So you want to call it would have otherwise connected, but the person was dead, so technically missed. It is, whatever. I don't know. Very good on his raw, very accurate with those snipes. Not that particular situation. Shock and Smash, scumbag with the beads, not wanting to die, moved out of the way. Mr. Crunchy, that caught in that whirlpool as he looked to turn the fight around. Searing pain. What happened? I completely missed it.
He filled gold. He went straight through the middle, Vex says. There was an Athena and a Geb, and they were standing right next to each other. He was about to land the double snipe, and then they both just split open and were just like, yo, field goal, have a 6-pointer.
Yeah. Should we help him out and rectify the whole caster sclerosis kind of implied by the fact that he never misses? Vex is the worst Ra ever, can't land a snipe to save his life, and things now should be back to Dardes!
Blinking to the freeze, and they've got some nice focus. Dardes is surely dead here in a second. He's gonna live just a little while longer, and the Whirlpool not quite able to secure it. Dardes is living through this one. Finally, Vex says is gonna clear it off, and now he might be in a world of trouble, or is it Bulbasaur that's in trouble? The Whirlpool's down, and they will secure it. Mogau's got that one, but Vex says has found Tines for his trouble.
Double kill and still looking for a little bit more. Stackness will get away that triple as they still look for a little bit more. He's taking up the tower and impaled into the wall. He may not survive. Desert Fury ages off cooldown, keeping him alive as Mogau now in the front line. Mitigate wounds is doing work. Will it be enough? No, it will not. Votemake rotation. There's a hit as Vex finds a kill to close this one out for the Deicide.
Deicide! What? Look at Stactimus Prime's health bar. Who was expecting an Aegis? An Aegis on a Bacchus support! That was incredible! I saw it and I was like, wait, why isn't he dead? I couldn't believe it, and then Aegis, you said it!
Used just like, well, for a Kraken. It's a really nice pickup against this team comp.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Wombo. Look at Arcadia, look at Tines. They're looking for that Wombo combo with the Desert Fury, Whirlpool, Kraken combo. And vote MBK, he's up to 3 stacks. He is so big right now on this Xbalanque.
Yep. You don't want him to be to get online and going. He's 3-0-4. That's 15 free physical power. He has a built-in steroid on his 1, more damage, and AoE damage on top of that, because how silly is that? Why not? To be fair, his early game wave clear is abysmal. But you get past that point, you're going to be probably the highest damage per second hunter in the game, period. There's some little shenanigans math with crits, potentially with 1 or 2 other hunters. But you're doing AoE damage and hitting hard because of your passive. It's absurd.
Absurd? Did I hear absurd? Because then we start discussing absurd.
No, I actually meant silly. Silly.
Silly, okay. Team Arcadia, start to have a look through their actives, because that last team fight kind of shook me into gear with looking at the actives. Ymir in the jungle's got Blink into an Aegis. Aegis in the mid lane as well. They're looking for multiple AGs, and the weakening curse as well coming through from Osiris means that Mogao hasn't got as much healing as he really thinks in a team fight now, and I guess you kind of expected that. But check this out from Dardes. This is the second time we're seeing a girdle of support from him.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra damage that you can make it pay off. It's not working out quite so well this game. They don't really have that much persistent overtime fight. If you pop it before Tynes uses the Kraken, yeah, you're going to get more damage on that, but it's not really helping much over the course of a fight. What would he go otherwise? I mean, this is a defensive option. You could say go that way. Wrath of the Gods. If the other team doesn't have it, you don't necessarily need it quite so much. You're not really going to be looking for early Fire Giants or Gold Furies anyway anymore these days. Yeah, I realize we're kind of wishy-washy in the opinions of the Wrath of the Gods. In my opinion, it's kind of like the support teleport kind of situation. If the enemy team doesn't pick it up, you don't have to pick it up either if you don't want to. If the enemy team picks it up, you should probably seriously consider picking it up. You kind of leave it to the option later on. I mean, stack them from right now. You can say, hey, I'm going to pick it up. You don't have it on your own support. Between the Wrath of the Gods and the Intoxicate, I can secure objectives quite effectively.
Check out this focus on towards the left-hand side of the map coming out from Arcadia. They want this tower really, really bad, and they're looking for it. They're going to get the secure down on towards it as well. They're starting to really pressure out all of these lanes, Jordan. This is some really nice objective control.
Yep, they're turning into these picks, these team fights into objectives. They're starting to siege up now as well. You don't have to go for the Fire Giant before you can start taking objectives. Group up, start the siege. What's the worst thing that happens? Well, we both lose farm in other lanes. If they say, you know what, we're not going to group up, well, guess what? We'll just take your tower then. So, because we may be losing minions in the mid lane, but you're also losing minions. Shock and Smash is kind of splitting off to take those right now. Look at Bulbasaur heading straight over to kind of answer back. Not far enough away to where he can't respond if Shock and Smash starts to use his Defender of Olympus.
Yeah, so, making sure that there's some sort of response play coming through. It's fantastic positioning, but look at the pressure starting to slowly be applied. The Brinker and the Freeze, they get under what's done is he's going to get burst out by the shards of True Ice, or killed off by a Bolt of the Gods. And now Stactimus Prime is looking for multiple other members, and Arcadia, they got the man advantage, and they've got the left-hand tower as well, and now they're looking for Darkest of Nights.
That's dropped on down right side of the fight. Shock and Smash and Bulbasaur are still trying to go at it. He's looking to chase down for that kill. Mogao gets caught by the stun from the Belch of the Gods, but now Stactimus impaled into the wall will fall to Arcyle as they're trading back and forth evenly in this left-hand lane. Mid lane, they're throwing stuff back and forth to each other. No real kill potential. It's a bit of a wet noodle fight across those two gods. Otherwise, in the end, Team Arcadia won that overall engagement. They got 2 towers and a kill. Yeah, they lost Stactimus Prime, but 1 kill for a kill and 2 towers? Big victory.
Yeah, well, I know which one I'd take. And look at the golden XP starting to come out as well. 7.6k XP and 6.8k gold. It's just that grind up. They've been slowly leveling themselves towards the victory. There's no huge disparity in levels this time around, not like last game.
Yep.
But 19 to 17 in the mid lane, that's a telling story. And Fexes is on a god that scales. He's just relatively strong at all stages of the game.
Absolutely. Otherwise, taking a look at the way this game is going right now, Arcadia definitely have a decently strong lead on their side of the board. They're down 1 game right now. This will even the score up for those guys, and they can look to go forward and kind of turn things back around overall in this series. If Myrmidons take this, though, they'll be up 2-0 and can look to close this game out in a 3-0 sweep on the back of the next one. Question's going to be, we saw earlier, looking at that graph, Myrmidons looked like they put a stop to the bleed and were bringing things back towards even. Then suddenly, Arcadia turned the power back on and said, hey, you know what? We're going to put ourselves back in control of this game, and look how that lead changed back towards their side of the graph in a big way. If they keep this up, the game will more or less be theirs, because I said earlier, Myrmidons, they have a strong mid-game. We're there now, and they're behind.
The risk is when they contest this Fire Giant, what's going to be the call coming from both sides? Kraken goes down and actually doesn't tag anyone, and that's a crucial ultimate. That's a Fire Giant potential stealer right there, as Mogao did get a knock up and immediately just bolted for safety. Down comes the Raz Knife, does tag on towards Mogao, and Vote MBK is going to secure the first kill of the fight, but it's not quite done there.
That's going to be a kill. That's going to be the tower here more likely than not as well. Myrmidons could look to force this fight 4v5, but it would not be a favorable one for them. They spent a decent bit in that engagement. Defender Olympus was channeled onto Mogao, but it was not enough extra protections to keep him up and alive. Tynes dropped that crack and unfortunately didn't find anybody, and they're looking for the Phoenix potentially right here. They don't have the Fire Giant buff, so it will not die quite as quickly. So, not necessarily a risky play, but they have to be careful how they go about this one. They don't want to overstay their welcome. If Moga gets back up, expect to see the engagement. They might not even wait.
Cataclysm goes down, and at least it's a nice zoning from Data to start bringing out pressure in the backline as Shock and Smash trying to do what he can to the lineup of Arcadia, but not able to do a lot. And look at Arkyle's health bar that suddenly gets a lot smaller with the aid of X's.
They went for the engagement, found it, and unfortunately could not find kills. They were forced to back off themselves. Right side Phoenix is down. The base has been cracked. Arcadia now pulling back across the map. Look at the gold in hand. There's a tier plus of items sitting in inventory. They don't even have to go straight back to base. It looks like they're going for that gold fury here, potentially. I
mean, it's up.
Fexes, that Fexes, don't recall there. Okay, we're good. We're good. He's leaving. They're good. They're all good.
I mean, it is up now. Gold Fury can potentially swing a game at this point in time. It's not like it wouldn't. Not on this patch. This patch is starting to become an objective worth contesting.
Bulbasaur answers straight on back. As Mo got down in the thick of things, Darkest Knights coming out, looking to force the Drum Trick back, is forced to beads, avoids the stun of Darkest Knights, and the fight continues. Bulbasaur finds a double with the Lord of the Afterlife.
He's not quite done either. He wants to continue going deep, and they get the focus off on towards Tains, and they will manage to secure him. Mr. Crunchy pops the ultimate to clear that one out, and now it's in dire straits. Dardes is DC, but it means nothing when he's dead. Or is he dead? He's alive right now.
He's very much alive for the time being. Unfortunately, disconnect coming out. The pause will be on for Myrmidons as well. A little bit of time for them to regroup and communicate. How do we turn this game back around? Yes, it's a best of 5, but we'd rather not drop a game if we don't have to. Keep the dream alive for that 3-0 sweep. Dardes has reconnected, so the pause should not be lasting too much longer, but look at the respawn times right now for Myrmidons. Realistically, there's not much chance of them defending this Phoenix because Arkyle's going to be not able to go forward. Dardos will be up to help out, but there's no Blink. There's no Blink's available, no Cataclysm. So Blink Shockwave, it may not be enough to stop them from just taking this Phoenix straight up.
No, may not, and very likely not. Yeah. They don't even have the Fire Giant at this point in time, but they are going to back away and grab another Gold Fury. This is starting to... Well, I mean, at 2-0 Gold Furies, it's not getting out of control, but the gold that it's going to be worth and the experience it's going to be worth at this stage is going to be intense.
Yeah, if Minions had been there to remove the backdoor protections, I think the Myrmidons, Team Arcadia would have committed to it. The problem became, look at the health bars of Mr. Crunchy and Stackiness. They were low enough that a Blink, Shockwave, and with a couple hits from Arkyle could have potentially found a kill off them. So going the safer route, they got the Gold Fury. So they answered back and turned, got it anyway. But look where Myrmidons are on this map right now. Arcadia are suspecting this one. They're about to realize this is the case. Myrmidons tightened under attack wall from Minions, but this could be the steal coming in from Stackiness if he wants to go for it.
Yeah, and look at where Poseidon is. He's nowhere near this fight. The Cataclysm's already down. The Boulder is doing really, really nice, and the steal from Arcadia was fantastic. MBK gets one. He's looking at Shock and Smash to be number 2, but it doesn't need to do anything. The poison darts are there, and now they can just turn around and finish off Mogao.
Gonna maybe chase him down. Lord of the Afterlife will shut down that mitigates wound healing. There was 2 of them there. 2 Herculeses for a brief moment, but it did not make any difference. Fexes cleans up that kill. Right lane Phoenix is already down with only Tynes and Arkyle left standing on this map right now. Look at the respawn times. 15 plus seconds. They could look for the Titan potentially. It'd be a risky big call, but if they can get the damage up quickly enough with minions present for the backdoor protection removal, they could end the game right now.
Yep, they can, but they want to make sure that they secure multiple Phoenixes to clear off a lot of those protections. Do they? They're suddenly... Yeah, they just want to go for it, Team Arcadia. They're trying to level this one up. Titan's starting to get down. It's at 30% health and dropping quickly. This game is over. This one is done. And Arcadia are going to level our series at 1-1.
Yep, going to game number 3. It's still going to be anybody's game. It has been more or less reset, and we're back to a normal regular old best of 3 matchup essentially going forward. Both teams have played well in game 1 and 2, evening things back out. The Arcadia show, they're not going to let Myrmidons run away with this series.
No, Arcadia definitely do not want that one happening. So, if you guys want to see the 3rd game in this series and see who goes 1-up and who has a chance with 1 game remaining to not level the series, but to take it out and forward themselves onto a relegation/promotion match, well, I wouldn't go anywhere because it's going to be right back up in just a few minutes.